This is sneaking up on me. It's 2 o'clock already, so we'll call this meeting to order. And if we'd all stand and do the pledge, please. Okay, let's have everyone introduce themselves first. Chucky boy, you want to start?
Chuck Hill, Vice President.
Brad Nickum, Treasurer.
Janine Grippo, Assistant Treasurer. Sherry Groupie, Secretary.
Matt Campick, Director.
Charlie Shaw, Secretary.
Darren Shaw, COO.
Okay, great, thank you. So, first thing we have to do is approve the minutes from the February 28th board meeting. These all came out to everybody, had them online. So, do we have any questions?
Just a quick comment, I'll approve them as they are. But I would just note that there was an attempt to put all the names of the people on the golf committee in these minutes, and one name was not mentioned, Kerry Gilly, but he was approved back in January, and I don't think we need to amend these. Thanks.
Okay, anything else?
I move we approve the minutes.
Any comments? How about from the audience? Oh, we need a second first. Janine is going to second that. Okay. Now comments. Comments from the residents? Hear none? All in favor, say aye. Raise your hand. Any opposed? None. So that passes. Okay, so here we go. Let's get on with this meeting then. Get down to the meat of things. I have a few comments to make. First item, I'm going to make it real quick because we have a lot of stuff to go through, okay? And I think you're going to walk away here today pretty happy with what's going on. The first thing is listening to the residents. There was conflict with morning activities, having the board meetings in the morning. So what we did this year was we moved them to the afternoon, and I hope that's helping the residents so they can do their morning activities, okay? Then some of the comments we got was Desert View being here for our meetings is kind of impersonal and intimidating for people having to come up and ask questions or make their comments, looking up at the board. And so what we are doing now is we added some working meetings every other month. And as we talk about topics, the residents chime in at the same time. So we do a back and forth and a back and forth all day long, going over the topics that we're talking about. I've had some pretty good feedback on this because people have said, you know, it's comfortable. You don't have to get out of your seat to talk. We bring the microphone to you. We don't limit you to a 2-minute situation. And that way the board really gets to get a feel for how the residents are feeling. So I think it's working out very well. Another comment was in the past, the resident comments would always be done after we adjourned the board meeting, so they weren't part of the meeting. So we've changed that to make your comments part of the meeting before we adjourn. Just a simple little thing, but that's Robert's Rules of Order, and we want to kind of follow those. Now for some good news. We had a food drive last week, and I don't know if you know, but over 8,800 pounds of food was taken, and you folks gave over $106,000 in donations. I'm blown away. I want to thank you all. It was a great thing. Oh, I am very generous. Not that generous. The golf. You're going to see a lot of details on the golf today. Some great things are happening. Online, there's a website called Golf Now, and our ratings have gone from 3.3 to 4.3. That's a major increase, and it has balloon our outside play. So the numbers will be coming out. You're all going to get a look at that, and you can clap all you want, okay? Now, on the financial statements, you're going to see a line item under the cash called Golf 29. There's like 2.8 million in there right now. And what this is, and we probably need the explanation, these are the funds that are being set aside for the preserve renovation of the golf course. We want to keep that separate because that's going to grow over time so that you can watch that grow, so that when we get to the point where we do that course, you'll see that the money's there. And we're not going to come back to you and say, hey folks, we need some more bucks, okay? We are presently collecting a lot of information on the course. We're tentatively scheduled for around 2029, maybe a little later, maybe a little sooner, but until we get all of this information, we don't know. And so we're hoping that by the time we do the next working meeting, we have a lot of this information, and you'll be the first to know, because we want to keep you all informed of everything that we're doing about this situation. Oh, now the bad stuff. All right, food and beverage. We currently kick out over 10,000 meals a month between the two restaurants. Now, kicking those out, our ratings have gone up to 4.7 and 4.8 out of 5, which is pretty darn good. However, I think we all need to realize that you're going to get a handful of mistakes. You can't do 10,000 meals and not have a few mistakes. So all I'm going to ask of everybody is that if you're a recipient of a mistake, call it what you want, I'm going to ask you to call either Alan or Darren to discuss what happened to you. And the reason why I want you to do that is that there's no way we can get better at our food and beverage unless we have feedback, not only the good stuff, we need to have feedback when things don't go right. We've had people go on the social media just lambasting, I had this problem, and you know how it goes. But let's say that because of your online next door neighbor or whatever the case may be, tirade, 100 people say, well, I'm not going back up to the restaurant. Well, you know, if that affects our subsidy, we're all paying for that. Okay? We are all paying for that person's tirade on social media. So I'm just going to ask that to help us do better, get a hold of the people, have the discussion. Okay? Last item, pickleball. We've all had some rumors going around here, and I'm just going to put them to rest. On Thursday at 2 o'clock in the ballroom, there's going to be a meeting. They're going to present all this stuff that we've heard about. The board is not involved at this time. All we know is that what you guys know. Rumors out there, we've been getting emails, you can't do this, you can't do that, yada, yada. So if you're interested, come to that meeting at 2 on Thursday in the ballroom, and the subcommittee that's working on this stuff is going to talk about it all. They're going to take questions, and that's all I've got, okay? I mean, you don't need to talk to us about it because we're outside the loop right now. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Darren.
Hello, everyone. Pleased to report on a few things. The reserve study's underway. We started that probably close to a couple months ago now. Our first reporting date is April 1st, and once we get everybody's report-ins, we'll be able to go through all that data. Terry, our financial director, will be putting it into the new software that we purchased, and we'll start seeing how this reserve study looks and what we found when we went out in the field. I'm sure we're going to find reserve items and components that aren't in the existing study, and we'll just have to see what impact that has on the reserve fund in general. Manager goals and objectives are complete, right? The board approved the strategic plan back in January, and it listed a number of goals and objectives as part of that plan. And we're going to have a couple report outs today on goals number 8 and 9. But more importantly, our management team and your directors all develop their goals and objectives that align with the board's strategic plan. So that keeps us all on the same page. Age verification survey still underway. We're at about 2,400. We need 2,600. So if you're involved in discussions and somebody mentions they haven't filled their survey out, remind them that we need to get that done. I sent out a personal email to everybody about 3 weeks ago, and I might do that again with the remaining people that haven't responded. So want to try and get that done at least by mid-April. All the entry doormats you may have seen, if you're going to the facilities now, they've all been replaced. I noticed that when I first came on board, most of the entry doormats or doorway doormats were in pretty bad shape, and the brand that we have, Saddleback 2, was kind of all over the place. Some of the doormats had the facility's name on it, some had Saddlebrook, some had other names on them. So we rebranded all those doormats, replaced them all. They look good, and they're all Saddlebrook 2 doormats now. That's our brand. 2024 audit is underway. We have about 6 months to complete that after the end of the fiscal year. So there'll probably be discussions about that maybe in May or June, and there'll be some internal discussions with Finance Committee and our Finance Director as this audit continues to progress. Policy Review Committee schedule is meeting every Friday now. There are 25 or 26 different policies that we're taking a look at. 4 are on the agenda today. And what we'll try and do is get those tentatively approved for member comment. And then if we do get those, I'll use the word conditionally approved, we can bring them back maybe to the April working session. So more about policies later on in the meeting. Exploring civil engineer proposals. We really need to do some identification work on our stormwater system out there. I think that area of the community has not been as maintained as it should be. And it's one of those things I like to say it's not a problem till there's a problem. I don't know that we have a specific maintenance program in place. We're talking to some civil engineers, trying to find out what it would cost for a civil engineer company or with an hydrologist to come out and map our system and come up with a maintenance program that we can implement. So we're in the process of getting numbers on that, and as this progresses, we'll probably bring something back to the board in April or May. We are renovating all of the entry monuments. You may have saw some of those signage and entry monuments being worked on currently. They look really good. They were looking a little shabby. You know, they've been there for a long time, and they were looking weathered, and I think that's a nice refresh. So the project seems doing a nice job on that. There is movement on the foreclosed home. I'm not going to refer to it other than the foreclosed home, but we did make a connection finally with HUD, and HUD's going to come back out and reassess the property. So we're trying to coordinate that right now, and the term short sale has been mentioned in some correspondence. So hopefully things will work out and we can do a deal or get a deal done on that home. We held a realtors forum today. We're going to try and do that 3 or 4 times a year. I think it's good for our management team to have a good connection with the realtors out there. They are ambassadors. They are the face for people that are coming into the community that are new and don't know our community, and we want to make sure that we're on the same page. So it was a good event. And we're trying a few new programs, one of which is Sunrise Yoga at the Preserve. It's scheduled March 28th. It's a sellout at 50 people, I think. And if it goes as well as planned, we'll probably bring that back once a month and put that on the rotation. So working closely with the lifestyle folks and the fitness folks to try and create some new events for everybody in the community. So that concludes my report. And I'm going to move on now to strategic plan report outs. Is that okay, Larry? So as part of the board's strategic plan, I mentioned that the board approved a set of goals and objectives that kind of align the organization. And during the course of the year, our responsibility as staff is to report out on 2 of those every other board meeting. And at this meeting, we're reporting out on strategic plan goal number 8, which is we will provide enjoyable, well-maintained golf courses, offering memorable golf experiences with exceptional service while catering to both the beginning and the non-golfers. And we have our director of golf, Mike Carpy, here. He's going to come up in just a minute. And then we have, bear with me just a minute. We have we have goal number 9, which is I'm getting there. Membership experience. We will foster the SBHOA2 community by offering social and recreational experiences for all members by providing a broad variety of well-maintained amenities and activities. So we have our marketing director, Michelle Pendleton, here today. She's going to talk about the things we're doing on that front. So without any further ado, I'll invite Mike Carpy up to talk about goal number 8.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for attending the board meeting, and board members, good to see you as well. We're just going to jump into each objective. I could probably be up here, Darren said I could be up here for about a half hour, so I'm going to take my time. No, I'm just kidding. It's only going to be a couple of minutes. So I'm going to go through these rather quickly, but just wanted to give everybody a little update. If we can go to the next slide, please. So, objective number 1, evaluate the membership options and adjust if needed to increase our customer base and retention. So we had new membership options this year, which was our seasonal membership. If you look down here, I said 33. We actually have 39 seasonal, which is January, February, March, and April, and then again in November and December. So 6 months of our busy season, of our snowbird season, a little less than the full annual membership, but obviously it was something that we were able to attract quite a few people off of that one. Trying to return HOA2 offers back to HOA2 from HOA1. We got 5 annual memberships back, which is a start. It's not exactly where we want to be, but it is a start. We've got to start with somewhere. And then the key for this one is we didn't do a fee for a monthly pay program, which is similar to what HOA1 was doing. And we know that that kept at least 15 people from going over to HOA1 and keeping them here in HOA2, which I think was a very big key to the momentum. And if you see a grand total there, we've got 354 annual pass holders. Our goal was 328. The budget was 1.377, and as of yesterday, we were 1.435. So it's positive, which is a good thing, finally. Next slide, if we could, please. Then also another new membership option was a Canyon card, which replaced the old prepaid punch card program. This allows a golfer not to feel like they have to play. It was an opportunity with a $129 purchase price. It included a free round of golf, and then it was discounts every time they play, whether $10 for an 18-hole fee and $7 off a 9-hole fee. Our goal there was 355. We did okay. We've sold 588. So between the two, we were hoping for 683 membership purchases. We're at 942. So really, really good situation there. And our variance overall was about $89,000 to the good. So again, a great opportunity there. Objective 2, if we can go to the next one, enhance the overall playing experience for all levels of play. Obviously, with the Mountain View renovation, that took care of a lot of the playability for Mountain View. But also, we're continuing to check our carry distance, make sure our tees for our players don't have an unnecessary carry distance. Keep things, ball can stay in play. We're not looking in the desert for our golf ball. Keep play moving. Also, it's a lot more fun not to look in the desert, right? And then also our washes. We had sprigged some of those areas last summer. We found out that it's not a lot of fun. Again, trying to clear those or hit out of those areas, find our golf ball. So Mark, Ray, and Gordy, they went ahead and cleared those areas out. So those are, again, open washes, which has really helped people find their golf ball, decide if they want to play it out of there or take it back and then take a drop. Preserve, like I said, again, the washes, the desert, we're cleaning up those areas, make it better. And then the big thing at the preserve is use of the top dressing sand from last fall. You know, for those that play the preserve frequently, our bunkers are probably our toughest part of the golf course. Been really thin in our sand. For lack of a better reason, there's not liners in those bunkers, which kind of brings to the next point, which is the removal of the rocks that are always popping up. But that top dressing sand was able to, around the greens, the bunkers around the greens, that gave us an opportunity to hit bunker shots the way we want to, the way we believe we can hit them, not skull them across the green and be frustrated with our game. If we can go to the next one, improve course sustainability practices. One big thing that Mark Soto, our Director of Agronomy, believes in is watering based on ET. So not necessarily watering because it's overnight and we should water, but watering based on actual conditions. So obviously that efficient watering leads to energy efficiency. So then the next part with our new GPS sprayers, that helps us. They're GPS located, so nozzles on the sprayers can turn on and off. So we're not spraying areas that we don't need to, which then leads to staff efficiencies, able to turn those players around or those associates around doing other jobs. So less chemical costs, less labor costs, things of that nature, keeping us really, really good. Also, we've got some great equipment managers. Our mechanics, Javier and Hunter, have really, really done a great job keeping our equipment up and running. Thanks to the board for giving us the opportunity to really upgrade the Mountain View facility by using funds that we have already had. But we've got lifts in there now, so now we can go check on our equipment underneath. Instead of trying to crawl on the ground to see if things are doing well, we're actually able to lift the equipment and work from underneath. It's a heck of a lot safer too. If we can go to the next one. Michelle will like this one. Strong Saddlebrook 2 brand identity. Obviously, we've got Mountain View and Preserve. We're really trying to promote those, and finally, the outside player is understanding the difference between Saddlebrook 2, Mountain View Preserve, and Saddlebrook Ranch. It's taken 7.5 years since I've been here to finally separate that. Sorry for Saddlebrook Ranch, but the red X is going to stay there like that. We, as it was mentioned by Larry, you know, from a 3.3 to a 4.3 on Golf Now, it has a substantial increase. So it's really, really fun to be able to do that. If we can go to the next one. Maximize revenue through additional services like events and dining. We've got our Mountain View Masters. Apologize, Augusta National, for using your logo, but I think our Mountain View logo looks good on that. We got 71 people signed up for our second annual Par 3 event. So it's $20 for prize money, $25 for food and beverage. It's a great opportunity right there where we work with golf and food and beverage on that event. Sip and Swing, we've got 22 people for tomorrow working on our woods. There's $15 goes to food and beverage, 10 goes to the instructor. We've had over 100 people so far this year in our Sip and Swing classes. And then finally, we had a Friday fun night at the Preserve in February. We had 24 attendees and then followed up with food and beverage after that. So great opportunity. We'll go to the next one. Again, we talk again, Sip and Swing, Mountain View Masters, the Friday fun night. Obviously, big one for us is the Mountain View Collegiate. We'll be heading into year 27 in 2026. Obviously, a highlight for many, many community members. It's a great opportunity to get to know some of these players and coaches. We actually have the young lady that won this year will be playing in the Augusta Women's Amateur Championship right before the Masters. So it's fun to see our players, but I like to call them our players because they were here, our players on a national and international stage. We've got, I'm a big believer in philanthropic events, right? Show not just the Saddlebrook community, but Tucson as a whole, what Saddlebrook is all about. And that started with our Folds of Honor event back in 2018. We had hoped to raise scholarship money for children and family members of service members killed or wounded in action. And this was an opportunity for us to give back a little bit. We had a modest goal of $1,000. We raised $4,200. Fast forward through last year, our 7th event, we've now raised $250,000. So Saddlebrook, this is awesome. It is so cool to be able to see that, to be able to talk about that and what you guys do. So like you talked about with the food drive and $105,000 for that, same idea, right? When you guys get behind something, it's phenomenal. It's so much fun to be a part of that. And then the last piece that I've got there is PGA Hope. PGA Hope has a program with PGA of America and the VA where we teach golfers, we teach veterans how to play golf. And this is, I mean, with our community, we have so many veterans in this community. It's a way to show back, to give back just a little bit and bring back some normalcy to them was, to me, was vital. And we've got a class starting April 19th. So if we can go to the next one. Future golf capital projects should aim to keep Saddlebrook 2 competitive fiscally and with our experience. How many people, board members, I know there's a few of you that play golf, how many use the north end of the Mountain View practice range? Okay, the two of you, that's good, that's 2 out of 2. Out in the audience, use the north end of the practice range for our short game area. It's a great opportunity to work on a short game, but that's been an afterthought. We used an old tee deck. We cut out what looked like a putting green. And I think that's kind of our next step with Mountain View, is to look at that project and see how we can't build a larger chipping green and a larger putting green to get a real short game area. That's the one area that I believe, out of our great facility at Mountain View, that's the one area that I feel like we're lacking. So that would be something that I'm going to talk additionally to Mr. Nickum and some of the board members on, and golf committee members on that one. And then finally, our last one, objective number 8, evaluate the economic impact of public versus resident play. And I just really went with the outside rounds. If you look at 2023, which is obviously our round that we can base off of with it being open completely, Mountain View had non-resident play beginning of January through March 19th of 755 rounds. This year, 958. Additional revenue coming into the facility and not displacing our residents. The two biggest keys to what we need. Preserve, 855, 1565. Almost doubled what we did in 2023. It is a lot of fun to see, and I hear it from many residents, I hear it from board members. It's a lot of fun to see all the gray golf carts driving around the golf course. We had the other day where I had to bring extra staff in so we could turn carts around. I've never done that in 7.5 years. We've never had to turn carts around, which is a great, great thing. Great problem to have, to say I need to add a couple staff members so we can get the carts turned. And then another thing that we at Troon like to do is something we believe in is dynamic pricing. Busier the tee sheet, increase our rates. Quieter golf course, drop our rates. Because an empty tee sheet does us no good. So I went back and looked at March 2024 average non-resident green fee at the Preserve. Again, using the Preserve because it was open all 18 holes. Our average non-resident green fee so far for that time frame in last year was $61.15. And then in 2025, we're at $64.28. So $3.13, multiply that out by 700 additional rounds. It is a big, big increase for what we're trying to do. So, as I said, I've got one more. Objective number 9. Evaluate the economic sustainability of golf retail merchandising. One thing we've got is we have a new Troon retail coordinator starting next week. Talking with my VP of Operations, Matt Malloy, he was super excited to see this change happen, which is going to be fantastic for us. This gives us a fresh slate with somebody who's going to listen to what our members need and want. I know that there's an opportunity there where I've heard from the residents, we need to see EP Pro as an example for our ladies. And that was not on our retail coordinator's list previously. Well, this coordinator, she and I have already talked, and she'll be here actually on Thursday. She wants to know what products do our members want and what price point that they're willing to spend. Because we want this to be an opportunity to turn things around in and out rather quickly, rather than having stagnant merchandise in our golf shops, which unfortunately we've had. So what we're looking at is changing our model, which is going to be smaller orders, but more frequent. So what you'll see is as an example, our normal orders have been 36 to 40 pieces. And we do that every 6 to 8 weeks, probably closer to 8 weeks. Now we're gonna turn around and it's gonna be more 16 to 20, but you're gonna see that about every month. So it's gonna be quick in, find your size, find what you want right away, get it out, get new stuff back in. So it's always gonna have a fresh new look. Additionally, we're gonna look at some fitness wear, lounge wear, and then also with pickleball as well, to really get that driving, which I think is an area that we've missed in the past. Our fitting days so far this year have been fantastic, except for March 14th, which Mother Nature said she wanted to be cold and windy. It's never good on the driving range when you're trying to new driver and you've got the wind blowing into your face at 20 miles an hour. For some reason, the ball doesn't go as far as you want it to. So, other than that, I know I went through it quickly, but again, Darren said I didn't have a whole lot of time. So, any questions at all there? Okay, thank you very much.
Michelle?
All right. Good afternoon. I just want to tell you how excited I am to discuss the progress we've made so far on Goal 9. There we are. So just a brief overview. The heart of this goal is our commitment to building a stronger sense of community, ideally through well-maintained amenities, social opportunities that invite everyone in, and everything that we've done ties back to this purpose, the purpose being connection through shared experiences. Go ahead and go to the next. Yeah, so this is just kind of a reminder of where we started. In reference to where we started, this is the 2023 McMahon survey that we conducted. And the numbers told a clear story. We have 33% of those who filled out this survey felt connected to the community. 23% participated in activities. 50+% didn't know about events. And only 15% of new homeowners attended an orientation. Residents weren't just uninformed, they were uninspired, so we made a plan. You can go to the next slide. So there is just an overview of what the objectives are. So setting the clear goals, objectives, how to get there. You can review those, but it's listen, inform, create, welcome, and elevate the experience. So these just weren't tasks. They were intentional efforts to reshape how our members engage with Saddlebrook 2. Go to the next slide. So here, referencing objective 1 for those spot surveys, this is where we listen. So we didn't guess, we asked. And we keep asking, from food and beverage to patrol, fitness. We now gather feedback regularly. These are just examples of all the surveys we currently have and ones that are in development, and just some high points of what those surveys have shown us. Next slide. So some of the scores are excellent. I believe, as Larry mentioned before, we have 5.0 rating at preserved dining. Others, like facilities, gave us kind of a path for improvement, which was good. All data is good. It gives us a plan on how to move forward. Here is an example of 2022, where we started, to where we are now. So you can tell simply from deploying these surveys, collecting your feedback, our staff is able to create actionable plans, make changes that then you, the residents, are showing us that it's an improvement. Next slide. So this is just kind of where we listen. So we're not just handing out surveys and handing them out and not doing anything with them. We're taking what we learned from those surveys and we're putting them into action. So Most importantly, we're listening across departments and using this to lead with data. You can review some of these, kind of just high points on some of the surveys we've done, the key information we've taken from that, the goals, and then what actionable items or next step we deployed to address those. Next slide. So the objective 2 is going to be to update and publicize events. So we made our calendars easier to access. There's multiple calendars. You have board, committee meetings, social events, club organizations. The easier they are to access, we also made them more reflective of the community. We added free and low-cost options, concerts, movies, things like that. We had resident-submitted events. So our online calendar is free for any resident to submit an event. That way you're able to have the complete outreach of the community, anyone who might be interested in engaging. And then we go kind of to the other end of the spectrum of more premium and upscale experiences, like our wine dinners, wine festivals, and touring performances here in this theater. Our goal was to have kind of a myriad of options that met the taste and interest of all of our residents, both price point and interest. There you go. So then our next objective was not only to make those events clear, easy to access, it was also creating new events, things that we haven't yet explored. We were given the task of creating 2 new events in 2025. We launched Fresh Experiences, as Darren spoke to. The Sunrise and Yoga is a new event. What we're focusing on is the collaboration between departments and amenities to tap into audiences that might not have been aware of all the benefits that one amenity offers. So we really are working this year in collaborating with golf, fitness, food and beverage, and lifestyles to create new events to attract. That way we're engaging and, residents are interacting potentially with new people that you haven't normally seen because they're not at your everyday functions. Some of those are listed here. We had the fire safety event that was yesterday, again, new. So we're having free educational events. We're also having events that are kind of more niche to whether it's your fitness, wellness, golf, things like that. So next slide. The other objective we had on there was to conduct an outdoor concert on the driving range. In fall 2025, we're bringing the community together under the stars with an outdoor concert on Mountain View Driving Range. It's a partnership not only with lifestyle and using the space for golf, but it really is going to engage all departments. It's going to be a new way to kind of showcase Saddlebrook's spirit. We are looking to have this be something that the costs are offset by appealing to vendors, to sponsors, to trade agreements, knowing the value of our residents, your purchasing power, to have people interested in advertising for you. That makes the cost of you attending these, great new events more affordable. The last objective, I believe, is to conduct 3 new homeowner receptions in 2025. As previously shown, we only had 15% of new residents who were attending those. That's something that we've definitely changed and engaged. We had a successful one in January. We have one scheduled for April, and then our final will be in September. So we're welcoming new homeowners with more than kind of just a handshake or handoff of information. These are receptions that are coordinated touch points. We have department heads there. We have everybody there to represent what it is that Saddlebrook 2 can offer them. And, personalized by every department, kind of to build that early engagement. More often than not, people aren't engaged because they aren't aware of everything that we offer. So that's, starting from when people move here and then continuing on with those who've lived here 15-plus years, our goal is to have you engaged and having opportunities for all of your interest levels. I think that might be the last slide. Yep, so now you can go, Terry. But just, I wanted to show and tell a story of where we started from a level of kind of disconnect, disengagement, to really kind of where we've moved the needle in a short amount of time. Last year, definitely, and already this year, we're heading upward. We've not only hit objectives, but we've created momentum, thinking of new objectives, new goals, kind of exceeding what the expectations were. And most importantly, we've strengthened the community experience for our residents. Now you can do it, Terry.
Next up, Finance Director Terry Dempsey is going to talk about February financials.
Thanks. Good afternoon. My name is Terry. We're going to go over to February financial statements now. First slide is cash and where we're at. We're cash for February. Our operating cash was at $5.3 million. $2 million of that is in investments, and the rest is in checking and savings. That's a decrease from January of 4.8%. Just at the beginning of March, I moved $1.5 million of investments into investments just to reduce the amount of idle cash we have. So our investment number that we have here, I took $1.5 million out of this 2.5, dropped it over here. So instead of making small little bit of interest on that, we'll make a little bit more interest. So it should be around 4% interest on that. So. Reserve cash is at $8.9 million, and $2.8 million of that is in investments for Golf 2029 project, which is what Larry was talking about. So we'll keep this line separate. This money is invested at Fidelity, and it's currently at $2.8 million. Okay. What else we got? CIF cash, we have $1.5 million, and that decreased 6.8% from January. So our combined cash is $15,798,000, and it's a slight decrease from January of $81,000, just because of expenditures that we've had for the month. Keep in mind, all of these statements are balance statements. They're not necessarily reconciled, so we have some deposits in transit and outstanding checks that are involved in that as well. Okay. Next slide. This is our reserves, and it's by complex. Just to give you the highlights. Mountain View is we spent $80,304 for the first quarter so far. That's primarily about $55,000 of that was for IT hardware, for switches that were needed upgraded, and we needed support on those, and the ones we had were outdated. Property site cam, we spent, bigger one, $113,000. This is for a couple pickup trucks that were needed for common area maintenance, and one truck for the facilities. And capital improvements funds, we spent $110,000. This included $80,000 for the pool clean comfort system for purifying and conditioning the pool water, and $15,000 went to cornhole equipment. So they gave us total expenditures on capital projects for the month, which is this number, $114,000, and so far for the year is $346,000 we spent. Okay, that's on our reserves. Next sheet, or next slide, please. Balance sheet, cash we mentioned is $15,798,000, which is the sum of these three. And we have some accounts receivable that we have out there is $471,000. This is for our biannual dues, and also it's mostly for our normal monthly spending on club cards that we are collecting when people charge things that are club cards. Property and equipment, $28 million. is down here. So that gives us a total assets of $44,920,000. Okay, next slide. This is all our liabilities for the year-to-date. So our current liabilities, which include deferred revenue and accounts payable, is $6,127,000. You see it right here. And then we have capital leases. That gets us to liabilities of $6.9 million. And then our fund balances or equities, another way to look at it, is $37.9 million, and that balances us to what our assets are, $44 million. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is our P&L. Revenue increased 6.2% from 2024. That's a nice increase that we've had. Amenities actually had net income was $236,000 compared to subsidy last year of $151,000, which is about 255% increase. So that's these are our amenities, restaurants, golf, fitness, theater. They came in at $236,000 net income, and that was a subsidy. So, and that's the change from last year. Our operating expenses, those did increase 5.4% from last year. And our net income year-to-date is $642,000 compared to last year, so $642,000. I don't know if you can see that. Compared to last year was $223,000, so 188% increase. So very good. Next slide gets into a little bit more detail. This is our February our F&B combined results, and February revenue increased 3.5% from 2024. This is what you'll see here. So it went from 660 last year, 684, 3.5% increase, but a lot shy of what we did, what we wanted to do as far as budget. So that was off by about $64,000. Next line, these two lines, this is our costs. These are cost of sales, and then our wages, and then our other expenses. Let's see, those expenses actually went down 5.7%. So increase in revenue, a reduction in expenses so far this year. That gave F&B a net income of $17,417, and last year it had a subsidy of $46,000. So very good so far this year for F&B, so a nice increase. All right, next slide, golf. A lot going on up here. Golf combined results. Our golf revenue came in at $760,000, and that's an increase from last year of 28.8%. As Mike was saying, they're doing very good this year. So it went from 590, to 760, 28% increase. This number is an anomaly. We've been having some issues with getting it broke out into these different sections, but we think we have that resolved. So we'll be reporting a little bit more concise on that, so I apologize. Golf net income was golf expenses have gone, our golf expenses have gone down from 2024, and they had $207,000 in net income in golf, and last year there was a subsidy of $111,000, so great improvement on that. Okay, and then next slide. Oh, I think I missed a slide. Is there one more? No? Oh, sorry. So we had a dues allocation slide that I usually show. So January, February, we've collected all the dues, but we look at it as per month, so it's $600 that we've collected per house, per rooftop. And the restaurants and golf theaters, those all had profits, so there was no subsidy to those. We did allocate $215 to the reserves. Patrol had $22, CAM $83, facilities was $115, and general admin was $165. That gets you to the $600 that we've allocated for the first 2 months. All of this information in more detail can be found on the website at SB HOA 2, and it's under My HOA 2. governance policies, financial reports, and then monthly financials. And that's what I have today. Thank you.
Come on up, Bill. Bill McGinn, Operations Manager, all-around good guy.
You forgot project manager extraordinaire. I'm going to add something, might as well add big. Hi, folks. So we've got a few projects going on. It's been a very busy year. It's been a very busy morning for me. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our Mountain View pool restoration, the welcome signs that Darren's already mentioned, Arts and Crafts Center walkway entry, project that I got going on, engaging with contractors, and of course my maintenance program. So next slide, please. So the big one, the Mountain View Pool Restoration Project, a lot of people are asking me questions, why do it this time of year? It wasn't so much a beautification project as it was a safety project for me. If I wouldn't have taken care of the issues that are going on right now, I would have felt really bad if somebody would have cut their foot or scratched themselves on some of the exposed metal that was in the pool. So we're working diligently. I'm optimistically cautious to say that we might be done a little early, but May 1st is our projected completion date. So it's going to be great. It's going to look nice, just as it did after November, but a little bit more pizzazz in it. And I'm really excited to see what this new quartz material does versus the plaster. The next project I got is the welcome signage. Darren decided that he wanted to start branding a little bit more and making our entrances and signage to our buildings and our roadways a little more visible and a little more presentable. So we took a little bit of project money that I had and we dressed them up. I was planning on doing them next year, but we got them done ahead of schedule. So if you go down the Mountain View Boulevard, you'll see that the two signs, both at the Del Largo and the Saddlebrook entry, look really, really good. We are also working on fixing a lot of the signage around our parking lots. We're getting ready to get a new parking lot at Mountain View, so a lot of those signs are getting spruced up and looking pretty. Everything that we're trying to get going is basically about our branding, and we're trying to make it, you know, when we have prospective new residents come in, they see that we are updating and taking care of what we need to take care of around here. And, you know, it is my job. So we are trying to take care of it. Next slide, please. So one of the projects that I got going on that I noticed is when I first got here, birds were an issue, and it's about that same time of year. So not that I want to scatter the birds to the four corners of the earth, but I do want them away from our entryway so that we're not tracking in a lot of the shall we say, debris from the birds into our facilities and keeping our carpets clean. So you will see a few bird spikes going up in some key areas again this year. I will be redoing the entranceway into the Arts and Crafts Center, upgrading the fluorescent lights into LEDs, helping us save a little bit of energy. Also, some of the panels are coming down, a little bit of wear and tear, so we're fixing it. Again, that's my job, that's what I do, and I love doing it. So, pretty excited about it. Next slide, please. Missed a slide in here, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what I actually do. That makes, you know, Darren get on my butt every day. So, I have to engage with contractors for estimates on reserve projects. These are the projects that I begged, borrowed, and steal for last year when we did the reserve budgets. Projects like painting the preserve complex this year, resurfacing the deck, plaster, main, pool, and spa out there at the preserve is another large project we got going on that I have to start bidding for and getting quotes for. We've got unit wall paintings. Units 14, 15, and 17 are on the schedule this year to get painted. These are all the perimeter walls, things of that nature up in there. So I have to get 3 bids for that and dealing with contractors. The pool covering at the lap pool at the Mountain View. I'll talk about that one here in a second. Tennis court resurfacing up at the preserves. I mean, these are projects that are all within the approved budget and on the reserved budget listing that it is my responsibility to try and get every contractor out here and get the 3 bids that we need so that we can choose the most viable, not necessarily the cheapest option, but the ones that we feel are going to do a great job. And with that, we've got the Mountain View Bar and Grill Refresh Project that if you went to the Realtor meeting today, they spoke a little bit about the conceptual design that we've got going on. I was excited. I had a meeting with them after. Not too much to give out today, but it is looking pretty good, and we are getting ready to move forward, and I'm hoping to get the bids from the contractors by the end of this week so we can hopefully maybe move forward with this project. So again, I'm really happy with the job. I love doing what I do. I did notice on Michelle's slide that I had a 56%. Exactly, this is helping me. So I really do hope that you folks use the QR code to inform me. I don't know if timeliness was because of when I was doing the project or how long the project's taking, but I know with the QR code, I have been averaging less than 48 hours upon response and repair of work orders that come across my desk. Just to give you the timeliness of things, this morning we had an issue at the Mountain View Bar and Grill where an inspector came in, did his tests on the fire suppression system, and lo and behold, the gas went out, so we had to shut down the Mountain View Bar and Grill this morning. Come to find out, he had forgotten to reestablish a fusible link, and that shut our gas off to all our equipment. My team got in there, figured it out, called them back, they got it fixed. So 3 o'clock today, go eat at the Mountain View Bar and Grill. Thank you, folks. Have a good day.
Thanks, Bill. The next item on the agenda was the club license form. What's happened here is that we have a handful of... Am I on? Okay, we have a handful of licensed clubs. We have a committee working on this, and it's not ready to go yet. We want to make everything kind of uniform amongst all the clubs, and they didn't get it done in time, but we've been putting a lot of stuff on everybody, so I'm going to forgive them this time, and we'll bring it in next time. So the next item will be the Cornhole Complex, and I killed my computer on the way down here, so I don't have the presentation, so I'm going to turn it over to Darren to take over.
So the Cornhole Complex lighting proposal, that was discussed at last month's board working session. So we ran through those slides. There was some general discussion. Haven't heard much about it in the way of support or opposition, but it's back now at this board meeting for formal board approval. So let's go next slide. Next slide, please. So those of you, complex consists of tennis courts, swimming pool, spa, pavilion, multi-purpose large parking lot. These are all illuminated so that evening activities can be partaken. Currently, the Saddlebrook Cornhole Court facility is the only facility on this complex that doesn't have lighting available for evening use. The purpose of adding lighting is to extend available evening hours of play in fall, winter, and spring where evening light is diminished, allow summer evening play where temperatures are cooler, and allow for those working resident members the ability to play after working hours. Next slide. So project scope, the LED flat panel fixtures designed for court illumination to be installed on top of the existing fence posts. I'll show you that in just a minute along the north side of the fence. These lights will be operated by a dual timer system designed to be programmed for specific on and off times, meaning they won't be on if nobody's there. Lights will be directionally positioned to minimize light spillover. Electric service is already present to the cornhole courts. Project has been reviewed by Facility Director Bill McGinn, all around nice guy. Work will be done by an outside electrical contractor, Trilogy Electric. Next slide. So frequently asked questions. What's the latest the lights can be left on? Right now, it's proposed at 9:15. How many lights? 5 of them, down lighting. Will the lights always be on to 9:15, even if no one's there? No. It's a dual system, meaning they have to be turned on and they turn off automatically if nobody's there. Who pays for the electricity? The association. Who's responsible for replacing the lights? Undecided, but likely the association. Next slide, please. The cost of the work is roughly $4,500, and the club will pay for the project. Next slide. Neighbor awareness, we reached out to 10 members whose homes are in proximity to see what they had to say about lights being added to the complex. What about dark skies? Somebody said, another owner said, I'm quite disappointed with the existing lighting system. I would not have bought here if I knew all these lights would be on at night. Due to noise, close it down at 7. The lights must be turned off no later than 30 minutes after the decided upon end time. I am opposed to the lights at the Cornwall area. The increase in noise and light pollution would absolutely be a detriment to those who live near this area. And I play pickleball, and no pickleball courts are not allowed to have lights. I do not understand why cornhole would be allowed to have lights. So those are the comments we heard from those adjacent homes. Next slide. So there was a slide in there that showed the lighting locations. Did we go past that? There you go. So that's the image of the complex where the lights would be installed, and the homes around there adjacent are the ones that we reached out to. So the motion on the floor, if someone wants to make it, is to approve the lighting proposal as submitted. Does somebody want to make that motion?
Do we have someone that would like to make the motion to approve the addition of lights for the cornhole complex?
I approve the lighting proposal as submitted.
Okay, do I have a second? Janine made the motion? Oh, so we're waiting for a second. You know, a second, okay.
I'll go out on a limb here. I'll second the motion.
Okay, now we'll have a discussion, okay? A board discussion on this proposal, please?
Do we have any detailed information on what percentage of time those courts are currently being used and how many hours a day they're vacant?
We do not have that information available.
So do we know why they need the lights then, if we don't know how often they're being used and how many days or how many hours a day they're not being used?
Well,
Why are the lights needed?
I think the whole idea is to extend playing times, right? I mean, in the wintertime, it gets dark pretty early, and people that work or do things during the day don't have the ability to play or take part in that activity. So I think that's what they're trying to accomplish.
Basic question, are there already amenities there that have outside lights anyway?
Yes.
Yeah. The tennis courts are actually closer to the homes than the cornhole courts are, and all of those have lights.
So this is not taking us from dark to light, it's just taking it
It's adding more lights,
a little
but
bit.
down lights.
And the tennis courts' lights don't have to be shut off until 10 o'clock at night, not 9:15.
An additional thing to consider is that we are looking at being able to rent out the cornhole space and some of the other locations to do like little unit parties and stuff, and that might go into a little bit of the darkness. I know a lot of us go home and get to bed before that.
Correct.
That's correct. We are going to have a little, with our rules, we are proposing to be able to have BYOB and your food set up down in that area, and this would facilitate some of that. That's correct. Any other comments? Okay. Do we have comments from the floor? Yes. Going to make you run.
Larry, while that gentleman's making his way down here, I have a question. One of the comments that the neighbor people said was, I am quite disappointed with the existing lighting system. I would not have bought here if I knew all these lights were going to be on at night. Weren't the tennis and the pool all lit up long before so I don't know, unless the person didn't stay around at night and to see if it was on.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, that stuff has been there forever, and anyone buying in there knew there was a sports complex in there, knew there was lighting,
And the tennis courts lights are really a lot more than what's being proposed on this particular
Do the
court.
tennis court lights turn off if nobody's on there? Because there's rarely anybody on those tennis courts.
I know, I don't have that answer.
They do.
Sherry says they do. Okay, thank you.
The
I
floor.
got a question for you. I'm Michael Ross. I live over, couldn't tell you, my lot and all. I'm just kitty corner from the softball field, so. But can you pull up that slide on your lighting proposal? Where your lights are laid out and all? Okay, so you're gonna light up one side of that field. So, I have a lighting background. Did you go through a company to do a lighting layout and all? Because those lights on just one side is gonna have to aim like this, which is then gonna produce light going everywhere. The way, if you shine them straight down, you only have light on one end, your other end, which from when I walked out there and looked at it today, your throwing end won't have the light. So I think you've got a little bit of a problem here to equally light this. Just something I'm suggesting because your costs are gonna go up because after you install it the way you have it, you're not gonna have the lighting you want.
Yeah, we didn't design this. The club had the electrical companies come out and make this proposal.
Okay, but your electrical companies are probably not sports directed and are just looking at getting a job, making money.
We're not privy to that. No,
So-
this was the proposal.
So it's my understanding that the lights will be fixed in a way that will light the entire court area.
Then one area will be lighter than the other.
It may be.
You will have dark spots, so.
It may be, I think they were trying to just limit the amount of light fixtures out
Right.
there.
But if you look at your tennis courts, you're looking at, like, the lights are going both directions. It's down light. I'm just concerned you're gonna break your, dark sky friendly rules. And if we break them as a facility, how you stop the residents from
Okay,
breaking?
if you'll look at the tennis courts, the lights are on each end of the court, which are more than double the length of the whole cornhole facility. There's only 20-some feet between each spot.
It's very easy to get someone
Okay.
to do a lighting layout before you get into a situation that you're gonna have people complaining. Because you can't light properly a facility, sports facility, equal light across the whole thing with just one side of it.
All right, I just look at it and I'm saying there's 20-some feet from one end to the other, and those LED lights supposedly cover enough of the court.
You're not
to-
paying attention, you're not listening.
I
It'll be
heard you. I
brighter
don't know,
on
I'm
one
not an
end
electrician,
than the other.
Okay, I'm just saying this was the
I'll
proposal.
tell you what, if you get me a CAD file of it, which you should have, I will send it to someone at no cost to anyone and have them give me, I need the cut sheets of the fixtures they're proposing, and they'll do a layout for you so you can see how the light's gonna work. I'm just more concerned that you guys.
We can do that. I mean, we can delay this and have the Cornhole Club get that information on the light.
Okay, I would just think as a board, you would look into these things prior to coming to the people and trying to get approval to do
Yeah,
it.
it's not the board's position to do the engineering. It's the people making the proposals that are supposed to get all that
So
done
who made
before it
the
ever comes to
proposal?
the board. This went through the FWR facility, you know, that
Okay.
committee. They were supposed to do all that, and they may have. We don't know.
You know, if they did, you'll have
Okay.
the
Well,
layouts
that
right
would
away.
not be presented to the board, okay? They do that, they make their proposals based on the information that's provided. They're supposed to come up with those questions and get all those answers before they make a recommendation to the board.
Right.
okay? So that's
Also-
where we're going. I mean, we don't know. We were not given that information. We didn't even ask for it. We don't need to ask for it. It's supposed to be taken care of at the committee level.
Well, Larry, if the association is going to accept that lighting as is, then the association is responsible for making sure that the lighting is done properly and correctly. Because we're going to be accepting it. The same thing with pickleball. Before we accepted the pickleball courts, we made sure that everything was done according to Hoyle.
Yeah, Larry, I'd like to make I'd like to amend the motion that we table this initiative, that we do the study that's been proposed here, and then we'll reconsider this after we receive that study.
Okay?
I would like to comment first before you can accept that amended motion.
All right, Bob, come on up and speak. You might have information for us.
Cornhole Club president. I was instrumental in this. To answer your. Go to the microphone, please. I am the Cornhole Club president. I was instrumental in this design. Yes, we have a lighting study. It has been studied by a group that is a specialist in court lighting. They feel 5 lights. We actually went with more. They feel, and they did a mapping study, that the 5 lights that are proposed for this project are more than adequate. There's actually a concern, that's why they're where they're at, to prevent light spillage from being excessive in the area. Any light spillage that's going to be there is going to be facing the parking lot, and it will, that area, the sidewalks in front have no ground illumination right now. The lights will actually illuminate that, making that area a much safer area.
But you're not paying attention to what I'm telling you. It's gonna.
I came from the lighting industry, as you did.
Okay.
We had specialists that came in to do
So
this.
then you should have a design that's showing the foot candles everywhere and that they're equal.
They have presented that
So you
in
guys
their
must have it.
proposal. So you have everything, the FWR committee has everything that was necessary for this proposal. We would not be spending the money on inadequate lighting for the community.
Well, for $4,500.
Has anybody
it's
from the
pretty cheap.
association reviewed the proposal for lighting and accepted it and are basically saying, yes, you agree with everything they're saying?
I think the Fitness and Wellness Committee did.
Yeah.
But we didn't, the Fitness and Wellness Committee did.
Yeah,
That's-
everything went through.
Has anybody from staff reviewed the
I have
proposal
not
and
reviewed
accepted it and
I have
said,
not
yes,
reviewed
this is correct?
specifications, no.
Well, then I agree with Matt that this needs to be postponed until we get that done.
I second Matt's motion to.
So what we're waiting for is for Bob to produce all of the studies they had done to determine that these lights are adequate.
I'm only looking for one person to look at us. We've had the FWR committee, Bob has given his testimony. When Darren says all the i's have been dotted and t's are crossed, then I think we can vote.
Okay. Do we have a second on the motion, the second motion?
Is the microphone on?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, basically, and Bill's been part of this too. Bill McGinn's been in, it said so on there. The situation is that this is Trilogy Electric. Bill, how much work do we do with Trilogy Electric?
So when we first initiated this program, I think it was about 2 months ago, I think it was, somewhere around there, Bob and the committee brought me down there to the courts. I looked it over, I spoke to Trilogy Electric, they gave me some ideas and things of that nature. I was all in tune to it as long as it wasn't going to affect our night sky and as long as it illuminated where we wanted it to go. And as far as, that's about the only time I had any kind of involvement with the project was noting what they were going to be doing and what they were asking for. I suggested that we table it and waited until till the budget and do a request and see if we can get the HOA to pay for it. That way we would have had all the diagrams, everything, and I had not looked at any paperwork. I just said, okay, as long as we are angling the lights down and we are not affecting anything and you guys go through the proper channels of presenting to the FWR board and got it approved through the board, I would sign off on it. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, basically, you know, and we had this discussion when we were up at the clubhouse for your working session last time, okay? Our I's have been dotted and our T's have been crossed. I think we're very comfortable with what it is, and since we are going to spend the money out of the club funds, I would hope that we can move forward and get this done now so we can raise the money to make it happen. Thank you.
Okay, we,
Trilogy Electric did a very similar project up at the preserve, which was approved previously. It's the same design that is being done here. So the lighting study the same lighting study that was proposed for here was done up there. We would not be requesting something that we did not have confidence would be the correct lighting solution for this court.
Okay, we have a motion to delay, awaiting this information we've just received, and we have a motion to go forward. So we have to vote on the amended motion, on whether we want to accept that and delay things, waiting for everything we've been told.
Yeah, I think, Larry, if I could just comment. I think what's prudent in this case, I bet Bob has dotted every I and crossed every T. The 7 of us sitting up here voting on this don't know, right? We don't know that all the I's have been crossed. So Darren can convene a meeting with the FWR committee, with all the parties involved, so he's 100% confident that when we take this vote, the way I think we're going to vote, that we know that we've met this other resident's concerns. That's all I'm suggesting here. Waiting
Okay.
30 days is not the end of the world to get this done.
Our next board meeting will not be a voting board meeting, so it would be really a 2-month situation.
We voted at the last working meeting, sir. We can vote at
Well,
the
we had a
next work.
special meeting, yeah, we could do that. Okay. All right, so we have an amended motion and second. Any other comments?
Please repeat the amended motion.
Yeah, I suggest we delay a vote on this for 30 days until we validate that all this information that's been presented is indeed accurate. And Darren's going to tell us, yes, I've reviewed all of this, and we're now in a position to say that the lighting plan is good to go.
So there was an original motion and a second. Who made the original motion? Would you withdraw that? Would you withdraw it? Then, and who made the second to the original motion?
No, you have to act on the amended motion
Okay,
first.
so I would call the question.
Be acting on the amended motion will make the original motion null and void if we act positively on the amended motion.
I would disagree. If there's a motion and a second, unless the original motion maker, which is Janine, agrees to the amendment or agrees to change her motion, and the second agrees to rescind a second, you can't just amend the motion. You have to play out the original motion. So there's a motion to approve the project and a second to approve the project. We had member comment. What's the board want to do with it?
Okay, let's have
Call the question.
vote on the original motion. All in favor of the original motion, say aye. Raise your hands. I have 2. Okay, 3. All opposed to the original motion. So we have
All right.
4. So the
So the motion-
original motion fails.
Okay.
Now we go on to the amended motion. All in favor of holding off for 30 days.
Well, I think we need to hold off till Darren tells us that he's okay and satisfied
So
that
The
everything has been
motion was for
reviewed.
30 days. We have to vote on the motion. That gives time for them to supply Darren the information, and he can report back to us within that 30-day period.
The other thing that's good about right now is it is staying lighter longer. So cornhole people can still play later. We're not in the middle of November or December or January when it's so dark. So I think it's a good thing to respect what this resident has said, make sure everything is correct and all the I's are dotted, or T's are crossed, whatever you want to say. We can't go willy-nilly into this.
Okay. another thing is that technology has changed, so has lighting. But anyways, all in favor of approving the 30-day delay until the information is given to Darren, raise your hands. Okay, any opposed? None. Okay, so the amended motion passes. We will wait 30 days. And Bob, you'll need to get your information to Darren for him to sign off so that he can get it back to the board. Okay? Okay, we're asking for information, so Doug, we're asking you for the information to get it through the FWR committee. All right.
Okay, Larry, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you a minute. The gentleman that came up here and spoke and said he had the lighting background, I'm sorry, what is your name, please, sir? Michael. I thought I heard you say, but I'm old and my hearing aids are fresh battery, but I thought I heard you say that you could get this assessment or this safety thing for free. For free. Okay, I'm going to ask Michael.
I just need the manufacturer.
Okay, stop. Let me finish, because I'm large and in charge. I want Michael and Bob to get together and be able to present this to Darren sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Say something real quick. I'm not against the lighting. I just think they would not be happy with the way it would be done.
Please share your expertise. Thank you.
Just in general, I think it's very important for any time that a club or amenity builds something on their own, that the association accepts it, because once they build it, it's part of the association's assets, and they have to make sure that it's to their specs the way they want it done, because they're going to be responsible for maintaining that forever.
Got it. Let's go on to the next item, if we would. Proposed revisions to the rules and regulations. I'm going to let you do it because you've got it.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. In everybody's packet is some proposed revisions to, if we can go to the next slide, please. Proposed revisions to Section 707 of the Rules and Regulations. And one of those changes that are proposed is to permit limited self-provision of food and beverages. Under strict guidance, this may include alcoholic beverages. Currently, the only locations available for bring your own food or alcohol purposes are the Pool Ramada and Desert View Complex and pickleball facility. So the rule revision opens it up for members to bring their food and beverage to certain facilities that aren't licensed and facilities that don't currently provide food. Right now, there's a rule that says no food or beverage can be brought onto any facility, period. So we're trying to open up more opportunities for members to gather and congregate and have a good time. So in order to do that, we went to the Rules Committee and asked the Rules Committee to take a look at that rule. They did. The amendments are in the packet, and I think they're quite clear. And then the Rules and Regulation Committee also recommends revisions to sections 11.03 for signs and flags, and then Article 8 for fines. And those are also in the board packet. I don't know if anybody wants to discuss those, but if the board were so inclined, they could conditionally approve them to go out for member comment. And then they would come back to the next working session.
Okay, that's where we're at. The flag situation is based mainly on Arizona law. So we're just trying to get our rules in line with Arizona law. So if we didn't vote for those things, well, we could get in trouble. So anyway, so what we're voting on right now, or making a motion on, is to have these new proposed rules sent out for residents to make their recommendations or their proposals or their comments, okay? So that's where we're at right now. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we send these new rules and regulations out to the residents for comments, questions.
Okay.
I second it.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Do we have any discussion with the board?
Just do it for 21 days.
How many days
Yep, it is for the time that is required.
Yeah, I amend that for 21 days.
That's the required time, yes. Do we have anyone from the audience that wants to speak on this? I think you're all going to be happy with having a place where we can go have some fun, but anyways. So we have a first and a second. All in favor of sending this out to the residents for comment, say aye, raise your hand. Oh, hold on, we do have a comment? Oh, you're a little slow. But we'll wait. We'll give you a chance. Up to the microphone, please, and give us your name.
My name is Aaron Howard, and I would just like to know of the process a little bit. Changes to the rules and the regs, do they go through attorney on staff, and do they go to our insurance carrier to see if that might increase our premiums?
They did not go through the attorney, but I did contact our insurance company, and it doesn't increase the risk in terms of insurability.
Yeah, it doesn't with alcohol and food?
It does not.
It's in a controlled environment. We just don't want you to get soupy drunk.
Well, let me just correct that. It's not in a controlled environment, but there is a process for people to book these areas and then to use these areas, and there'll be liability waivers involved, and we did check that out with legal, and I did call the insurance company, and there's not any more liability to the association because we're not involved in it. It's the same if somebody was drinking a beer in their car at the parking lot. If they're not inside one of our licensed facilities, we have no control over that.
Correct.
So these are facilities, and we're letting them use them to have gatherings. That's the whole intent.
Okay, that was it. Thanks.
We were in the middle of a vote. Once again, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Any opposed? None opposed. So that passes. Well, we'll get this out to the community so they can let us know how they feel about it. All right. We have some policy reviews, 4 of them. Yeah. Do you have the slide on that? Can we get the slide on that? Okay. I'm kind of lost.
Okay, our order's a little bit out of whack. Can we roll through 4 or 5 slides real quick forward? Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Policy committee rewrites. Those slide presentations got flipped. So let's go to the next slide. Policy committee meets every Friday, and we're going through all the different policies, 25 or 27 of them. So we have 4 policies that we've met, we've reviewed, and we've rewritten. And those are accounts payable, advertising, board borrowing, and common area maintenance. Procedures designed to support the policies will be developed by my team. So the way the policies were written before, they were kind of policies and procedures, and we're separating the two and putting a policy governance-oriented policy on top and then procedures to follow. So here we're looking at just the policies. The board can conditionally approve these proposed policies for the 21-day member comment, and then we can bring them back. So first up is accounts payable, and there was, and this is small enough we could put it on a slide, there was a change in number 4.5 where it says, COO shall review all invoices, sign all checks, and authorize credit card charges and ACH payments. We'd like that to read, COO shall review all invoices, sign all checks, new language, up to $25,000, because that's the limit I can sign, and authorize credit card charges and ACH payments, period. Checks over $25,000 will be signed by the treasurer or in their absence by another board member that is an authorized signer. So that's how we want to amend 4.5. Makes perfect sense. That's in the procurement policy as well. So if there's no objections to that, maybe we just peel these off one by one. Is there a motion to conditionally approve the accounts payable policy?
I make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Good.
Discussion?
Did you say that anything over 25,000, instead of being signed by the COO, should be signed by the treasurer?
I can only sign 25,000. Over 25,000, it has to be the treasurer or another board member who is an authorized signer.
Personally, by my background of 30-some years, I would prefer anything over 25,000 be signed by both.
Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've got a dual signature issue with our bank and Fidelity. We discussed that months ago, and it's just not a practical issue unless we were to possibly change banks. As the treasurer, I would just want to make the comment that the current process is that I'm signing anything over 25,000, and I'm not here 365 days a year. And this is a very practical thing to do. I think over the coming 2 or 3 weeks, there'll be some little procedural things we'll want to deal with, but I don't think that confuses this vote.
And I'm a signature on the account also, so in case of your absence, I could do that, and we can get Janine on it as the assistant treasurer, so that takes care of that problem. It would be a vote to send this out, once again, to the residents for their comments. So we're not formalizing this procedure yet, or this policy. So any other comments from the board? Comments from the floor? Okay.
Larry, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. Darren, I think the residents need to know why this whole policy thing got started. I mean, right after you came on board, you looked at the policies and said, whoa. And so would you explain that? I think our residents need to know why we're doing this.
Okay. You know, when the community was turned over, or so it appears, when the community was turned over, it seems like there was a mad rush to develop a bunch of policies back in 2017, because I don't know that there were written policies in place. So of these book of policies, 25 or 27, most of them were developed right at the time of turnover, and they hadn't been reviewed for, 6 or 7 or 8 years. And I think that in a policy governance model, you need to take a look at those policies on a much quicker interval than 7 years. So we started looking at the policies, and we saw opportunities to revise those policies. And then one thing led to another, and we thought, why don't we just start a project, put together a team of board members and some other members of the community to start taking a look at the policies one by one and make sure that they are reflective in terms of how we conduct our business, how we want to conduct our business, and make sure that they are tight as it relates to how we do things today. So that's how we got started.
Yeah, this is an update. This is reviewing everything that's happened and correcting things that need some corrections. I hope that some of our policies can stay where they're at, but we'll see. So do we have a vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, this passes. Let's go to the next item.
So the next item is proposed advertising policy. Now, as I mentioned earlier, with the accounts payable policy, there's a whole set of procedures that we put together. If any members want to see those procedures, the Records Information Act in the Arizona statute is pretty broad. You can always request those procedures as well. Here's a copy. It's small enough to put on one slide of a proposed advertising policy. We have already completed the procedures that attach to this policy. So here's the policy. It's pretty straightforward, and if somebody wants to make a motion, like with the accounts payable policy, to conditionally approve this for member comment.
I make the motion that we approve the advertising, sponsorship, and solicitation policy.
I second the motion.
Okay. Comments from the board? Any comments from the floor? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. Okay, let's get on, that passes, let's get on to the next one.
So, board borrowing policy. It couldn't fit this on a slide, but it's in everybody's board book, and it was posted online so everybody could see that. You know, when we had this whole thing back in January where there was a petition signed to amend the CC&Rs, and that whole thing didn't play out the way some people thought it was going to play out, there was some discussion about the board, among the board members, about adopting a policy that put some limits on board borrowing. It's not really common for communities to have unlimited borrowing power like our governing documents allow our board. So we went to the table and we talked about what made sense in terms of a board borrowing policy that limited the board's ability to borrow a whole lot of money. And maybe, Janine, you can talk about that a little bit.
What we did, Matt and I worked on this together, and we looked at what the intent of the petition to change the CCRs were, and we wanted to make sure we kept within that intent. I think at the January meeting, there was discussion about the use of that $3 million, so we changed that to a percentage as well. We worked through it and looked up some of the statutes that would, Arizona statutes, that would apply when we need, if and when we need to go to a member vote. And so we have a draft, and we worked on that. We took it to the policy committee on March 21st, and I make the motion that we move this to a review of the residents at this point.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it, Larry.
Okay, comments from the board?
Yeah, not to be nitpicky, but we can make some small adjustments in between now and then final approval. But for example, the assumption is that we're using 12/31 numbers in the budget for the coming year. That's obvious, but it's not stated. In the 2025 current indebtedness, it doesn't show a number, but I'm assuming we have to have our capital lease number treated as indebtedness. So there's just a little bit of sloppiness with this.
Well,
but-
actually, that's a sample. So that's just a
No,
sample.
I understand, but I'm fine with the intent.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear to everyone that I agree with this policy, and as long as I'm on the board, I will not vote for a loan as we did just a few years ago. But I just want to make sure that we're not trying to pull the wool over your eyes, that any future board can change this policy at any time, as long as they have 4 votes. So this is great for this particular board, but I want to make sure that everybody out there is aware that any future board can change this policy just by a vote of the board.
I think the good thing here is that once we have the policy, as soon as Robeson is out of our community, that's what stopped us last time from changing the CC&Rs. So if everyone agreed with this policy and it was voted in after your comments, it would be easy to roll this forward in the future after Robeson's gone. So any comments from the floor? Seeing none, let's have a vote. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, this passes. Let's go to the next item.
Okay, we're moving on to the common area maintenance policy.
Okay.
And this policy was rewritten, and it's in everybody's board packet.
Yeah.
And it just kind of lays out who's responsible for carrying out certain responsibilities with regard to the different levels of common area maintenance, 1 through 6. And that information's in everybody's board packet. It was posted online. Does anybody have any comments, or does somebody want to make a motion?
I want to make a motion to conditionally approve the new common area maintenance policy and put it out for review by the community for 21 days.
Good. Now, we haven't adopted procedures for this, but I will work with the material that we sent back and forth to put procedures together.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Comments from the board? None? Comments from the floor? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? There is none, so that passes.
Good.
Okay, now this will go out for comment again. All
Good.
these are going out for comment, so everyone's going to get a chance to look at all this stuff, and if they have something to say, we'll take that into account before the final vote. Okay.
Let's go back to common area. Let's go back about 10 slides to common area, where we were
common area.
before. Common area committee. There we go. I just wanted to make a point. I was thinking about one of the comments on the slides from Michelle where it said how we listen. I think the board adopting a policy to limit its borrowing power shows the membership that it did listen to what the members said back in December and January and made a concerted effort to put some controls in place. So bravo to the board for doing that. Yeah.
Sherry, did you want to go through this whole situation here? You were the liaison on the committee?
Hi there. What I want to talk about is the CAM committee. And first, I would like to recognize we have a great CAM committee. A lot of them are in the room today. If you'd stand up and be recognized for your efforts, I'd appreciate it. This committee was put together, it's been multiple committees over the years, but in 2024 it was put together primarily with the focus of getting a good solid policy for our community moving ahead in all areas of common area. I can tell you they have worked tirelessly on this through the last year, held many meetings above and beyond the normal monthly meeting to put this together. They've submitted all of that information with the policy and many policy and procedures as well, which has been submitted onto Darren. The policy committee has worked to put that together into the new policy format, which you'll be reviewing in what we just discussed. And then Darren's team will be putting together procedures also based on all that input that we received from the committee. So I just want to thank you for doing all the effort that you've put through today. As you know, with the governance policy change, it has changed how all of us have done things as board directors, committees, et cetera. In looking at that, I guess we can go to the next one. Okay. So this is the 2025 Common Area Maintenance Committee goals for this year. And if you look at these goals, and I'm not going to read through each one of them, when you look through these, what you're seeing are really our new COO's job. So they're not really under the purveyance anymore of the CAMP committee. They are now, we're turning all of this work over to Darren. Next slide. These were the committee's responsibilities set out for 2025. And as you can see, they had a lot of them. There's 8 of them on there. 2 of those goals are highlighted, number 4 and number 7. The other 6 goals are all now Darren and his team's job, directly through the directors and the CAM committee team, and Ray, of course, our general manager. So the 2 that are still, of work are looking at grants, which they did a tremendous job last year in trying to help save the community money and get the proper procedures in place to take care of some of the issues that we're dealing with. Also, there may be future studies. Right now, there aren't any, but those are really the only 2 that still apply to the committee. The rest are all under the COO and his team. Next slide. The CAM committee goals, once again, we run into the same situation. Quite a few goals, a lofty group, although only 2 of those are still ongoing goals that are not handled by our COO. One of them is working on grants for continued efforts in the community to save us money and bring in expertise. Also, we're working, Art, is working on mapping our entire community for many reasons, drainage being one, but he has tirelessly done an amazing job That is an ongoing project and will hopefully be done in the end of this year or early next year. Next slide. So what it boils down to is there are only really 3 items that are not the responsibility of the COO and his team. And those 3 are researching available grants, continuing the work associated with updating our HOA2 maps, and also undertaking any studies that may be coming up. Currently, we are working on 3 different items, and those 3 we feel could be better handled by task forces than having an entire committee. So the only ones we're really looking at right now moving forward are the mapping project, which will be handled by Art, and also there is a GOAT project. We have 2 members that have been working on the GOAT task force, which we'll get into if that moves forward, if it does, and then any future grants. So my recommendation as liaison to the CAM committee is to disband the committee and work with smaller task force as needed if we need additional items in the future. And I guess I would look for a motion to support that action from the board.
I second the motion.
Did we have a first? No, she said she's looking for a motion. Sherry, did you want to make the motion?
I make a motion to disband the committee as it is right now, and to abolish the committee, and then to go forward with needed task forces on an as-needed basis.
Okay.
I second the motion.
All right, comments from the board?
Yeah, I gotta speak for a moment to our good friends here in the community. In 2022, the 2022 board, responding to a lot of energy and complaints from the community about our common area, began to take steps to devise strategy. Chuck was on that board. They didn't get their initiative to the finish line, but they had done a lot of research. And when Sean and I came on the 23 board, it was one of the actions left over from 22 that we tackled first. As a matter of fact, we tackled it in January of 23. And that's where the skid steer was approved and adding people to do the level 5 maintenance. The condition of the level 5 maintenance in our community was horrendous. As many homeowners know, you paid thousands of dollars to clear the areas behind your home, which in my opinion was a corporation responsibility. And that board in 23 acted on what we felt was our responsibility. There were elements in the community that pushed back, and they closed down that operation for about 90 days. And it's the people that are sitting on this common area maintenance committee that we're about to disestablish here that got us through a very trying time here in the community. The majority of the people that talked to me wanted something done, and then there were those in the community that opposed what was being done. Well, I have a lot of scar tissue serving on your board over the last 2+ years, and so I've come to find out that one person's good electric plan is another person's faulty plan, and that's just the way things are in our community. The truth is, our reality has changed. It's amazing to me. I have to say I was one of the voices that strongly supported the establishment of a common area maintenance committee because board members, in spite of what we all think, were ignorant. We just don't know what we don't know about a great many things. And last year we changed that and we went out and tried to find a rock star COO to serve our community, and we've done that. And so all of our realities are being impacted and changed. And the Common Area Maintenance Committee and its members are the first casualty, if you will, of the change that we're experiencing by hiring the kind of COO that we've hired that takes his duties and responsibilities very seriously and is making a profound impact in our community and, quite frankly, on this board. I want to express my appreciation because Art Kopsek has made me walk more miles around this community than I ever dreamt I would, looking at drainage issues. And Eileen Depka taught me more about common area maintenance, and I've got her scars down my back as well. And so I want to say thank you for all of you that are here. And I want you to know that the boards in 23 and 24 could not have done for this community what we did without you, and you'll always have my appreciation.
Thanks, Matt. Another comment is that if we did not have Darren here, we wouldn't be having this discussion. But now that we do have a COO that's totally responsible and capable of taking care of these things, we just find that some of these committees, this one right now, are really not needed. The task forces are needed to accomplish what we need to accomplish. Any other comments from the board? Comments from the floor?
Good. Just close. You got to put close.
Hi, I'm Maureen Borland, Unit 29, Lot 16. I was the chair of the original Common Area Task Force, which in 2019 that was put together. And we are the ones who came up with the original Common Area policy that came out in 2021. Okay. And I have been the vice chair of the Common Area Committee since it was put together. I just want to say that I hear what you're saying here today. I have to say, quite frankly, I'm very upset with the fact that this is being proposed and none of us were told about it. All we saw is an agenda item saying Common Area Committee. We have no idea without doing some digging, that it was going to be proposed for elimination. I think the process stinks, that if you really valued the committee and the work that's been done, you would have told us at the last Common Area Committee that you were going to be proposing this. So I am offended personally that I've spent almost 6 years of my life working on this stuff, and this is the way we've been treated. The second thing I want to say is that I believe that Darren is a very good professional man, and I sincerely hope that he will follow through on making sure that the recommendations in the policy are being implemented. When there was once the policy came out in 2021, there was no committee, and for 2 years, everything fell apart. I do not want to see that happen again. So, thank you.
Thank you, and we will be calling on some of the members from the committee for these task forces. The job is not done, it's just the composure of how it's going to be done. Any other comments?
If you want to talk, come up to the mic.
I will say that attempts were made to have a meeting with Eileen. Many attempts were made to go over this with her so she could contact the committee members and discuss it with them. And because of her being out of town and such, we just couldn't connect. So there was an attempt made, and I'm sorry if it didn't happen, but we tried.
The reason you have to come up to the mic so the people that are watching it from home can listen.
Okay, I'm Rich Borland, okay, Unit 29, Lot 19. Okay, I've been on this committee since 2019, okay? The way you handle this is totally disrespectful to the people and all the efforts. If you're going to do this committee and you want this task force, you should have basically offered that to us, okay? The other thing, okay, you know, we wrote those policies, okay? Changing the board, they come in, okay? They didn't want to change anything, or they wanted to change everything, and they could have told us at the last meeting that they were going to change it, okay? So this is the way this is handled. I'm totally disappointed in the board, present and in the past, okay? The other thing, I just want to acknowledge, okay, when you talk about mapping and things, Art's done more stuff for this organization, and I assume you want him to do it, and I don't know why you want to do it anymore, the way you don't ever give him appreciation. He's done refurbishing of the original facilities. Nobody acknowledged or thanked him for that many years ago. Okay? But I just want to say I'm totally disappointed, and you showed no respect to our committee. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I just have a very quick comment. Eileen Depka, Unit 27, Lot 47. I am not going to take blame for not having a meeting with you, Larry. I was emailed last week for one meeting on Friday. You, knowing the importance of this topic, could have easily called me. I was available by phone the entire week, the entire weekend. How we found out was by me researching what Common Area Committee was on the agenda for. It was hidden. It did not say Common Area Maintenance Committee elimination. It did not say Common Area Committee change. And the changes that are being made, we did so much more than what was on here. We were told at our very first meeting that it was a two-way street, excuse me, working with the board for the agenda item that said the board will give you things to do. We were told that we also have things that we want to continue with, teaching the community about invasives, for example, and other projects that we have done in the past. That wasn't up here today. There was no reference to it. The Common Area Committee did so much more than the things that Darren is now responsible for. This was a way to get rid of the committee. We've heard for months that this was going to happen with the new board. So please don't say that the committee couldn't know because I wasn't available, because I absolutely was available. It was hidden, and it was hidden purposely.
Any other comments? All right, we have a motion, a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Sean's opposed, one opposed, 6 in favor. So it passes. Facilities Planning Committee, Janine?
Well, I can't say I'll get us back on schedule, but I'll try to shorten this a bit.
You got 2
Because
minutes.
many of you were in the audience at the February working meeting for the Facilities Planning Committee. I won't read the purpose. It's kind of a two-part. It's to provide project evaluation and pre-planning and pre-approval activities before the board will review a new project or approve a project. Approve. And we have some skill sets around project management, program management, milestones for projects, and we know Bill's a great project manager, and he'll probably understand everything we put out when we get there. The second part, and a very important part, is we want the purpose to be to communicate with community members and solicit feedback on things that are being proposed as future projects. Okay, next slide, please. There There are some project scopes that are or project types that are in scope. I'll just say anything over $25,000 or anything that is going to need a modification or repurpose an existing facility or amenity would come to this committee. And then we're going to have different amount of work to do if it's a really, really large project, like greater than 250K. Next slide. We're not getting in Darren's way. Darren is in charge of anything that, and his staff, anything that's already approved within the annual budget, and that includes the reserve and capital plan projects that are approved within the budget, and he takes care of preventative maintenance, restorative maintenance, and he can do minor enhancements up to that same $25,000 that we talked about in the accounts payable thing. Next slide. Our scope is to look at these projects, and it's a kind of a repeat of what you saw before, and before they come for board consideration. We will also confer with the Finance Committee. We're going to work side by side with them this year, which is a transition year, and they've been helping us out with some of our planning around the charter and such. And then any other clubs like fitness and wellness or golf or whatever that have already prepared a lot of the data, then we're going to use the data they've prepared. Next slide. Our goals, first goal would be to review the facilities master plan, which our task force put together last year, and recommend any modifications to the plan. We're going to identify the top 2 to 3 priority projects within the updated facilities master plan, and these came right out of recommendations from that task force, and solicit community participation so there's no surprises about projects coming down the road. Next slide. We've been working on updates to the board manual. We're really, really close, but we need another meeting, and so we're not going to ask for a vote on that. The board manual contains information about every committee, and there wasn't one there in January when we voted in on that board manual. Next slide. We also have been working on the charter. Ray and the finance liaison, Bill, have been helping us out, and we're really, really close. But we need because there's a lot of material that's in both of those documents that need to be synced, we're going to take another meeting. And so our committee would be working from the draft documents at this point. Next slide. I therefore would make the motion to approve Roger Beard as the chairperson of this committee, and the slate of committee members: Denise Anthony, Ro Callahan, Jennifer Citron, Fran Friedlander, Varda Main, Paul Massara, Doug Sweetland, Edward Zimprek, help me somebody, Roger. And we have a committee advisor as well, Andrea Waterhouse, and I'm looking for a second.
Second the motion.
Okay, so we are only voting on the committee members. The rest of it, there has to be a little extra work done before we go forward to have that go out to the residents for comment. So do we have a first and a second? Do we have discussion?
I have a question. Great job in getting all these people. Did we advertise this across the entire community?
There was an article in FTR for the record. We also put it out on the website. I handed out business cards and solicited people at the recreation fair. I would say we've done a pretty good job.
Well, great job, because I have to tell you, trying to reconstitute the SPAC, how difficult it is to find 10 people. That's a great job.
And you've all had a chance to review their resumes and things, and you got some great folks. So any other comments?
Yeah, a question. The resumes are great. It's nice to know what someone did 40 years ago. But what was missing in the resumes are what they do here. How do they spend their lives? I think that's very important. and I have no insights except for the few people that I know personally. I know that I've gone to great lengths to try to create balance in the committees that I'm involved in so they're not perceived as being all on one side of the fence versus other. And my concern is when I saw why these people were applying, who did they talk to, there was a repetitiveness to it. I think it's important for any committee that is going to be overseeing about 25% of our total spending on average every year, that it's a balance based upon age, involvement in various activities and amenities, and I'm not seeing that. I don't have that information. I really don't care where someone went to college 45 years ago.
Well, we didn't ask for what they were, they met with the chair, the proposed chair, and he's got an idea of the balance. If you're talking about what activities, we were looking for some skill sets. We were looking for architects and people with project management office, and civil engineers. We wanted some folks who would be really good with focus groups, communicating with the community, and we know we've got at least one golfer. I know one personally who's a golfer. I know we've got some tennis and pickleball players. Are there and arts and crafts? So based on Roger's interviews, I think we've got some active people here.
Any other comments?
I agree with Brad. I'm concerned that, and I don't know all the people on the committee, I know some of them. I'm concerned that their focus may not be what's best for the entire community. And that's bothersome to me.
Is that the ones that you know, Sean, or?
I'm sorry, Larry, say it again.
Is this working? Are you talking about the people that you know that are being proposed?
No, I'm just looking at the names. I just looked at the
Okay,
resumes.
so you don't know them?
I don't know them.
So
but
we all know some of them. I know a few of them, and I'd put them on the committee in a minute. Chuck, you want to say something?
I know three of them very well, and I would put them on the committee the second also. And I think if you're looking for a broad range, I mean, I'm not sure going out there and trying to find that many people that have the exact experience you're looking for with the
Well, no, I'm not
detail.
questioning Janine, how Janine did it. In fact, Sherry even asked at the unit rep meeting that we had 2 weeks ago to please go out to the whole community through the unit reps. So that was a good avenue. Okay. But my concern is, and I'll be brutally honest, when I went through those resumes, residents for responsible spending, residents for responsible spending. We're all residents for responsible spending. I don't want that bias to bias the entire facilities advisory. That
Okay.
name's got to be put in the title.
Any other comments from the floor? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. Sherry, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say that being responsible spending is good. The one person that was from responsible spending, Residents for Respending, was one of the people from the original task force appointed by Matt for the big facility task force with McMahon. And that was one of the reasons that person was selected, because they have such a strong background and they've been working with all of McMahon. They know how the whole system works, and for communication skills as well. So I guess the people that we've selected, they've got great backgrounds to do the job to get done. We've got a great variety of people. They're eager and excited to get to work, and I hope that everybody can get on board with that. We'll find out.
Any other comments? All right, we've had our comments, so we'll take a vote. This is for the committee members. We've already asked for the floor. All right. All in favor of appointing these people on the committee, raise your hand. All opposed? We have 2 opposed and 5 approving, so it passes. Next item, we have the ALC appointment. We have some, Sean, is this you?
Yes. I'm very pleased to ask my fellow board mates to approve a wonderful addition to the Architectural Landscape Committee, Mr. Aaron Howard, the gentleman that came up and spoke earlier. Aaron has been on ALCs in his past. He has had other board responsibilities in his past. He's had great training from Bruce and from Grover, and we are just delighted to have him on the ALC committee. And so I'd like to make a motion that this board approve Aaron Howard to be on the Architectural Landscape Committee as a full card-carrying member.
I'll second it, Larry.
Okay, comments from the board?
Did we see that resume and form, volunteer form, in the packet?
I didn't see one.
Okay, we also didn't do it for golf in January or elsewhere.
Any other comments from the floor? It's getting late, isn't it? So, all in favor of appointing Aaron? Say aye. Raise a hand. Any opposed? Finding none, that passes. Okay, we've come to member comments. You know, we're having a working board meeting next month where we want to talk to you guys, okay? So you've got 2 minutes to speak, and we have one fellow to come up and make a comment. Huh?
3 lot 24. I want to talk about emergency contact list, or the lack of. My neighbor, my next door neighbor, Sandy Hines, 30 days ago today, was found in her backyard in a coma. 911 came instantly. They took her to Banner. The sheriff department showed up, took a picture of her ID. They locked her house. So for the last 30 days, everything is still in her refrigerator. Her garbage has not been taken out, and her water is still on. And I've talked to several people. I've talked to the sheriff's office, to where I'm almost on a first name basis. And it seems like nobody can do anything. Well, first starts with us. We have emergency contact information on our website. The problem is most of us can't get to it. So that needs to be fixed. Because my bet is half the homes here don't have it. Sandy Hines does not have emergency contact. She's a single little old lady that lives by herself and pretty much stays by herself. But unfortunately, she went to Banner, and for 10 days we checked on her, and then she dropped off the net. We don't know, she was in a coma the whole time. We don't know if she passed, or we don't know if she has been sent to another facility. I personally went to Banner South and then Banner North, thinking that maybe it was the phone call. No, you can't get the information. The sheriff's department, again today, said they were working on it. I don't know how hard it is to find one little old short 99-year-old lady, but it ain't this hard. But whatever the thing is, this is what I want. I want the board to get whatever access we need out to the community so we can update our emergency contact plan. That's first thing. Because I'm going to tell you, half the people in this room, if you think about it, don't have it registered. I have my wife, which means if my wife and I die in the same car wreck, nobody knows who to call. Guys, we've got 3,200 homes that's growing every day. This is poor. The other thing I want is the HOA to spend some money on our lawyer, get access to that house, get the garbage out of it, turn the water off, and find her will, trust, point of contact, or even her phone, so maybe if she has a child, we can contact them and say, oh, by the way, your mother's dead, but we didn't know how to contact her. This is hosed up. By the way, I've lost 3 friends in 2 weeks that live here. So this isn't just, oh, by the way, somebody died. No, it's every month.
Sir, can you get her information to Darren so that it can be followed up on? We don't even know the address.
Well, I didn't want to give the address. My address is 63324 Pearlwood, and yes, I'll go up there today and make sure they've got it.
Please, and get it to the office, get it to Darren so a follow-up can be had. and we'll follow some procedures. I mean, if she's not there.
There is no procedure, all right? That's the damn
Well,
problem.
we're gonna have to
Well, we
develop
act like
something.
nobody dies around here, and we die all the time around here. And the thing, we need to find out, get our lawyer involved. If we have to get a writ or whatever, get in the house, get that confirmation, let her family know that she's passed. I believe she has passed because both hospitals have gone stupid. Okay? She barely had a pulse when they took her away. And the last thing I want, which was one of the first things on your agenda, was you're about ready to sell that house. We've been hearing about that house for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years we've been trying to get rid of that house, which the back wall fell in on, those don't know, which the roof leaked, HOA paid for a new roof, something else happened to it, we paid for it, we're paying for it as HOA. I don't want the house next to me to turn into the next house. Because it's a beautiful home, the yard is manicured, our inside is spotless. We need to not let her family go through not knowing, and then when they show up, they find a refrigerator that's purple and growing hair. We owe that to families. That's just ridiculous.
You
I will
do-
get with Darren after this.
Right. You do not know anybody in her
No one
family?
on my street knows anybody in her
Okay,
family.
well then we have a starting point, and that's the address and the name. All right, and if you can get that to Darren, at least we can start a process. We have nothing else we can
That'll
go
only
on
take
right
care
now.
of Sandy. It won't take care of the problem, Larry. The problem is, we as a community don't put our emergency contact into a database, which we have in our HOA system, but we don't. I tried to go update mine, and I'm familiar with that website, and I can't get to my information. Something's wrong. You should be able to update it when your doctors change, when your children pass, whatever it is. That's something you guys can fix, and you can fix that soon. I'll get it to you, Darren.
Charlie, do you want to comment on the effort that you and Kim are undertaking to identify people that don't have emergency contact information?
Okay. So, Cash, we took your advisement and we've been working on it. Please know that. We didn't just hang up the phone and forget about it. We have ran a report in the entire system. We have gone through and culled out, and it's been hours, to find people that do not have emergency contacts in the system. We emailed over 900 people. We have gotten 300 emails back. There is something to be said, unfortunately, with privacy issues. We can only do so much. Now, having said that, hopefully we can figure out a way to work around some of this. But if you're one of those 900 people that received an email from us, we had one lady call and say, "Is this a scam? Because I've been scammed before." And we're like, "No, this is not a scam." And we have set up a system where people can fill out and submit. That is on the landing page of the website.
I'll see you tomorrow, you show it to me.
And it's right on the landing page of the website, right up at the top. Please update your emergency contact. Very easy. All you do is click on it and submit the information.
Thanks, Charlie. I was just going to adjourn if we have no other comments. You have one more comment?
Yeah, Charlie, we have several things going out to residents for their comments. They will get this by email, correct? Is there any other, if they don't get the email, if they lose it, is there any other place they can look to read what's going out and make comments on it? Or is it only the email they can do it, respond to?
Are you talking about the 21-day comments? We always put those on the website. We always put them in the Monday message, and we also email them out. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, this meeting's adjourned. We went way over, but I hope it was informative. Thank you.